Welcome to another episode of the Cheater's Guide to FNaF World. Our next set of battle moves is the yellow attacks. Yellow is essentially the miscellaneous category. They're abilities that aren't necessarily attacks in and of themselves, but instead give perks, inhibit enemies, or add a bit of randomness to battles. Because of this, most of the yellow moves are unique, and don't rely on the same formulas or patterns as other abilities. There are fewer variables that affect them, so they tend to behave the same regardless of where they're used. However, some behave differently when used against a boss rather than a standard enemy. In contrast to other color categories, not all yellow attacks can be mimicked. Prize Ball is a move used by Toy Bonnie and Mangle. Its description reads, Random Low-Tier Attack. It can summon one of 7 different things, some more likely than others, and most don't behave exactly the same as they would if used normally. Both Birthday and Jump Scare have a 20% chance of appearing. Birthday lasts for 10 to 19 seconds, and Jump Scare will stun all enemies for 2 to 7 seconds, bosses included. This means the Prize Ball Jump Scare is slightly more effective against bosses than the normal Jump Scare. Hot Cheese has a 16% chance of appearing. It summons 5 globs of cheese rather than the typical 3, and instead of dealing damage based on the level of the character that threw it, each set of globs will have a randomized power level from 23 to 42, adding 1 to 3 per hit on top of that. Having Prize Ball summon Hot Cheese again will change the power level for all cheese on the screen. Munchies and Water Hose both have a 15% chance of appearing, and they behave exactly the same as normal. Cupcakes has a 13% chance of appearing. It heals based on the usual formula, except that it randomly selects the power level rather than drawing it from the character who threw it. Its power level can range from 0 to 49. Finally, there is a 1% chance that Prize Ball will summon 3 bursts that are attributed to the attack Poppers. They deal a standard 99 to 198 damage. The only Prize Ball attack that is affected by level and damage multipliers is Munchies. This move is good for early game, primarily for boosting your party, but is severely limited and not recommended for a late game move. Prize Ball 2 is a very similar attack used by Withered Chica, Marionette, Paper Pals, and Nightmare Young. Its description reads, Random High-Tier Attack. It summons a more advanced array of 9 attacks. Each has an equal probability of appearing. Freddles, Gloom Balloon, Rainy Day 2, Toxic Balloon, and Water Hose 2 all behave as they normally do. The 3 bursts attributed to Poppers are the same as when summoned by the standard Prize Ball. Unscrew 2 still works the same as the normal attack, but its animation is slightly faster. Balloons will spawn 6 balloons instead of the usual 3, although the formula for their damage is the same. Pizza Wheel 2 summons the same amount of pizzas as normal, but each one has a base value of 6 to 7 rather than 1 to 2. Several of these attacks benefit from character levels and damage modifiers, making Prize Ball 2 far more useful as a mid to late game move. Mystery Box is a move used by Phantom Mangle and Marionette. Its description reads, Swap out your characters for random characters. It randomizes both your parties, swapping out the current characters with a selection of others based on party slot. Slots 1 and 5 can have characters 2 through 21. Slots 2 and 6 can have characters 6 through 25. Slots 3 and 7 can have characters 10 through 29. And slots 4 and 8 can have characters 14 through 33. Lower tier characters are more likely to be selected than higher tier, meaning Bonnie, Toy Chica, JJ, and Phantom Foxy are far more likely to show up than Marionette, Nightmare Freddy, Endo 01, and Springtrap. While the same character won't show up on one party, it is very possible for the same character to be on the backup party as well. In fact, it is altogether possible for both your parties to have the exact same character set. Characters will all have the same HP and power level as the characters that were originally on your party, so if any of your characters were super leveled, that power will transfer to whoever was swapped in. When Mystery Box is used, it will automatically switch your parties, so if you were on the front party when you used it, you will now be on the backup party. However, if you already lost an entire party, Mystery Box will fail. You must have at least one live party member on both parties for it to work. Mystery Box is also one of the only moves that cannot be mimicked. Mystery Box 2, used by Phantom Marionette and Paper Pals, is virtually identical, except that it swaps in generally stronger characters. Its description also reads, Swap out your characters for random characters. Slots 1 and 5 can have characters 10 through 29. Slots 2 and 6 can have characters 14 through 33. Slots 3 and 7 can have characters 18 through 37. And slots 4 and 8 can have characters 22 through 41. Both Mystery Box and Mystery Box 2 can be used multiple times within one battle, provided they give you at least one character with either ability. Since Mystery Box has the potential to give you either Phantom Marionette or the Paper Pals, you can then use Mystery Box 2 to give yourself a much stronger team than the one you started with, which may very well be worth the effort. However, if the party you started with was already decently strong, using either Mystery Box may instead leave you at a disadvantage, since it's far more likely to pick lower tier characters. Regardless of who you end up with, upon victory, your original party will still receive all the XP, not the ones who were swapped in. Mimic Ball is an ability used by Paper Pals, Esc Key, Fredbear, and Mr. Chipper. Its description reads, Mimics every attack you do. It places a Mimic Ball on the bottom of the screen that can summon Virtua Freddy, who will mimic any attack you throw except for Mimic Ball itself and a select few others. It can be used 10 times before it disappears, unless you have the chip Auto Mimic enabled, which gives you a permanent Mimic Ball. Throwing it again before all 10 times are used up will reset its uses. Though Virtua Freddy will appear and do his attack animation for Mystery Box 2, and Endo Army, this will not do anything, but will still count toward the 10 uses. Additionally, the Mimic Ball will not mimic the same attack used multiple times in a row. Only the first time you use the attack will it be copied, and then you will have to throw a different attack before the Mimic Ball will copy it again. If a Mimic Ball is active upon victory, it will still attempt to mimic the last attack thrown. Oftentimes this will fail, resulting in Virtua Freddy's animation playing but throwing nothing. Some attacks, however, will successfully be mimicked after victory, and may even outlast the battle sequence. This most notably happens with Prize Ball, which can summon attacks late enough that they can occur on the map outside of the battle screen. Mimic Ball is useful as a late game move, either to double powerful attacks, or to duplicate gift boxes and make yourself that much more difficult to defeat. Endo Army is an ability used by Endo 01 and Endo 02. Its description reads, 3 Endos will help you fight. It summons 3 endoskeletons that have a 50% chance to deal 50 to 79 damage every fourth of a second. There's also a 10% chance of doing a critical hit, which adds 1000 damage points. The attack has a counter that adds 1 to 3 every 0.05 seconds. When it reaches 1000, the endos disappear. This usually lasts around 25 seconds. If Endo Army is currently active, throwing it again or having it be mimicked will do nothing and will not affect the counter. While the damage remains standard and is unaffected by leveling up, this can be a useful mid-game attack and can continue to assist in the late game. Neon Wall is an ability used by Endo 02, Endo Plush, and Animdu. Its description reads, Force Field blocks 50% damage. It produces a shield that blocks half all enemies' basic attacks, as well as completely nullifying Alarm. It lasts for 30 seconds, but each alarm orb that strikes it will reduce the time by 3 seconds, and Gloom will remove it entirely. Neon Wall will not block named enemy attacks, so it mainly exists to assist you in surviving basic attacks, so you can focus more on attacking enemies and countering named attacks through other means. It doesn't help at all against Chica's Magic Rainbow since she doesn't have a basic attack, so for that particular battle, you can forego Neon Wall and focus on dealing as much damage as possible. The chip Auto Shield gives you a permanent Neon Wall that cannot be gloomed off of you and will last the entire battle, no matter how many times it's hit with Alarm. Gift Boxes is an ability used by Esc Key, Crying Child, Funtime Foxy, and Coffee. Its description reads, Auto-resurrect party members. It essentially gives an extra life to all 4 active party members. A live party member will receive a gift box, which will be used up if that character's HP reaches 0, allowing that character to keep fighting with a fresh life. Gift boxes currently on the floor will remain if you swap parties, which can also resurrect a dead character on the other party. A dead party member will be resurrected, but won't have a gift box unless the move is used again. The chip Auto Gift Boxes causes you to start every battle with a full set of gift boxes already in place. Gift boxes can be removed prematurely if your opponent uses Gloom on you. Most of the time, gift boxes resurrect characters to full health. However, if you are using characters with HP higher than 1000, these will only be restored to 1000 hit points. That means characters who are super leveled may end up with only a fraction of their initial HP each time they lose a life, making them vulnerable to attacks such as Water Hose. Gift boxes used in tandem with Mimic Ball is a very good strategy for major boss fights, as each time gift boxes is thrown, the Mimic Ball will then copy it and ensure characters who were dead are not only alive again, but now have a gift box to give them an extra life. I find this especially useful against Animdude and Chipper's Revenge, both of whom can one-shot most party members with a single bash and knock out an entire party with 4th wall. Although sometimes Chipper is mean enough that I like to have at least 2 characters with gift boxes just in case one of them is killed before I can use it. Haunting is an ability used by Golden Freddy, RxQ, Jacko Bonnie, and Jacko Chica. Its description reads, Chance to turn an enemy to stone. It summons a Ghost Freddy, who has a 50% chance of freezing an opponent he comes in contact with every fourth of a second. This also means he can miss entirely. As soon as he succeeds, he will disappear, and that enemy will freeze for 5 to 29 seconds. Standard enemies will be grayed out to indicate being turned to stone, except on the mobile version, but bosses will not. However, the move does still work on bosses. Frozen enemies cannot use their bash attack, but named attacks will still go through. A boss may still animate as though it were bashing, but the bash will do no damage until the effect wears off. Haunting is particularly useful against enemies who bash frequently, as it will stop them and give you a little more breathing room. For example, Overclock, the fastest boss in the game, can be rendered practically powerless by it. Even though Haunting is a slow attack, its effect lasts long enough to make it worthwhile, and multiple enemies can be frozen if the attack is used more than once. Escape Key is an ability used by Withered Freddy, Shadow Freddy, and Marionette. Its description reads, Chance to kill multiple enemies. This is a potential insta-kill that can target all enemies on screen. It has a 1 in 6 chance of succeeding on each standard enemy, and a 1% chance of succeeding on bosses. It's rather slow, with one of the most intrusive attack animations in the game, and its low success rate makes it not very practical on boss fights unless you're really desperate. But it can be useful when fighting 3 or 4 standard enemies, helping you potentially defeat a couple of them instantly and make the overall battle go more quickly. Hocus Pocus is an ability used by Mr. Chipper and Purple Guy. Its description reads, "Chance to transform enemies." It has a 50% chance to turn enemies into weaker enemies. The new enemy ID is determined by dividing the old ID by 0 to 4 plus 2. This only works on standard enemies, not bosses. Hocus Pocus can be used on the same enemies multiple times until they become as weak as possible, but then if you keep throwing it, nothing will happen. Although the transformed enemies are weaker than they were before, they still have all of their abilities intact, meaning you can create humorous situations where bounce pots or tote moles can throw fourth wall, alarm, or other high-powered attacks that are normally reserved for much stronger opponents. The transformed state will last for the rest of the battle, making this an insanely useful late-game attack, particularly when dealing with Geist Slayer enemies. That's it for the yellow attacks. Let me know what color you'd like to see me cover next.